Good morning dear students. Today we are going to discuss about suboccipital triangle. Sub means below, occipital means the occipital region. So below the occipital region we have a triangular area which is known as the suboccipital triangle. So it is the triangular area around the articulation between the skull and superior end of the vertebral column. So between the superior end of the vertebral column and the skull we have a triangle which is known as suboccipital triangle. So we will be discussing the boundaries and contents of the suboccipital triangle. So before we proceed for the boundaries and contents, I will be discussing the muscles of the suboccipital triangle in detail. Okay, we shall see the origin, insertion, nerve supply, action of those muscles, and then afterwards we will discuss the boundaries and contents of the suboccipital triangle. Suboccipital muscles, they are a group of small muscles in the uppermost part of the back of the neck. Okay, so they form boundaries of the suboccipital triangle. So we can see here there are four muscles: the rectus capitis posterior major and rectus capitis posterior minor, obliquus capitis inferior or the inferior oblique, obliquus capitis superior or the superior oblique. Okay, these are the four muscles, they form boundaries of the suboccipital triangle. So we shall discuss about each muscle in detail. We can make out here the boundaries of the suboccipital triangle. This is actually the triangle, so which is bounded by the rectus capitis posterior minor, rectus capitis posterior major, obliquus capitis superior and inferior oblique muscles. So between these muscles we have a triangular area which is known as suboccipital triangle. Suboccipital muscles. So muscle, first we have the rectus capitis posterior major. So it originates from the spinous process of the C2 vertebra. What is C2 vertebra? The axis vertebra. Okay. Insertion, it inserts into the lateral part of the inferior nuchal line of the occipital bone. So if you see the occipital bone, there are nuchal lines, the superior, inferior and the highest nuchal line. So this muscle, it originates from the spinous process of the axis vertebra and getting inserted into the inferior nuchal line of the occipital bone, that is rectus capitis posterior major. Then we have rectus capitis posterior minor. It arises from posterior tubercle of the posterior arch of the atlas vertebra, which is C1, and inserts into the medial part of the inferior nuchal line. So basically these two muscles, they are inserted into the inferior nuchal line. One is at the lateral part and one is at the medial part. Then inferior oblique, also known as obliquus capitis inferior, it arises from spine of the C2 vertebra, that is axis vertebra, spinous process of the axis vertebra, and insertion into the transverse process of the C1, that is atlas vertebra. Okay. Then we have superior oblique or the obliquus capitis superior, we say. It arises from the transverse process of the C1, atlas vertebra, and it is inserted between the occipital bone between the superior and inferior nuchal lines. So these are the muscles of the suboccipital triangle. They form the boundaries: the rectus capitis posterior major, rectus capitis posterior minor, inferior oblique and superior oblique. So you must remember origin and insertion of these muscles. So suboccipital triangle, it is located between the occipital bone and posterior part of the C1 and C2, deep to the trapezius and semispinalis capitalis muscles. Okay. It is deep to the apex of the posterior triangle of the neck. We have already discussed the suboccipital muscles, that we have rectus capitis posterior major. Let me show you in this color diagram. This is the rectus capitis posterior minor, the origin from the C1, insertion into the lateral part of the medial part of the inferior nuchal line on the occipital bone. Then rectus capitis posterior major, origin from the C2 vertebra, insertion into the occipital bone. Then we have obliquus capitis superior, arises from C1, insertion into the occipital bone. Then obliquus capitis inferior, origin is from the C2 vertebra and insertion into the transverse process of the atlas vertebra, that is C1. So all these muscles, they are innervated by suboccipital nerve or the dorsal ramus of C1, that you must remember. So muscles again we can make out here. The rectus capitis posterior major, rectus capitis posterior minor, obliquus capitis superior and obliquus capitis inferior. So basically you have two suboccipital triangles on right and left side. Okay. So let us see the contents of the suboccipital triangle. We have suboccipital nerve that arises from the posterior ramus of the C1. It does not have any skin distribution, supplies these muscles. Okay. Then we have greater occipital nerve from posterior ramus of C2, supplies semispinalis capitis, splenius capitis, inferior oblique via connections to C1 and skin of the posterior scalp. But basically this suboccipital nerve is important. Okay. Then boundaries we have already discussed. The suboccipital boundaries formed by all these muscles. Okay. This superior oblique, inferior oblique, rectus capitis major and rectus capitis posterior minor. Okay. Floor, it is formed by posterior atlanto-occipital membrane or the posterior arch of atlas vertebra, floor of the suboccipital triangle. It contains vertebral artery and suboccipital nerve. Roof is formed by greater occipital nerve and occipital artery. So aspect of the triangle, superior-medial boundary we have rectus capitis posterior major, superior-medially. Superior-laterally we have obliquus capitis superior. Inferior-laterally we have inferior oblique. Floor, it is formed by posterior atlanto-occipital membrane and arch of the vertebra C1. Roof is formed by semispinalis capitis muscle. Contents are vertebral artery and suboccipital nerve. So suboccipital triangle, it is located between the occipital bone and posterior part of the C1 and C2, deep to the trapezius and semispinalis capitis muscles. Okay. It is deep to the apex of the posterior triangle of the neck. So we can see the contents here. This is vertebral artery. Okay. The semispinalis capitis has been cut, so you can see the triangle over here. This is obliquus capitis superior and this is obliquus capitis inferior. This is rectus capitis posterior major and rectus capitis posterior minor. So these are the boundaries of the suboccipital triangle, and the contents we can see here: the vertebral artery and dorsal ramus of the C1 nerve or the suboccipital nerve. So muscles again we can make out here. The rectus capitis posterior major, rectus capitis posterior minor, obliquus capitis superior and obliquus capitis inferior. So basically you have two suboccipital triangles on right and left side. Okay. So let us discuss about the clinical correlation. But before that, the contents are very important in the suboccipital triangle. Number one, I told you the vertebral artery, the dorsal ramus of C1 of the first cervical nerve or the suboccipital nerve. Then we have suboccipital veins, plexus of veins. Then we have other structures which are related to the triangle, greater occipital nerve from the dorsal ramus of C2, the third occipital nerve from dorsal ramus of C3, and occipital artery. But main true contents are the vertebral artery, dorsal ramus of C1, and suboccipital venous plexus. Vertebral artery bends radically as it approaches and enters the suboccipital triangle. Therefore, it is very susceptible to dissection or aneurysm in this area, and is a major cause of stroke in people under the age of 45 years. Okay, and one more clinical application related to the suboccipital triangle is cisterna puncture. Cisternal puncture is usually done through the suboccipital triangle to collect CSF from the cisterna magna. Let us discuss the action of suboccipital muscles. All the four muscles collectively, they maintain the position of the head. The rectus capitis posterior major, minor, superior oblique and inferior oblique, they maintain the position of the head. The two recti, the rectus capitis posterior major and minor, and the superior oblique, they extend the head at the atlanto-occipital joint. So they are responsible for, these three muscles are responsible for extension of the head at atlanto-occipital joint. The rectus capitis posterior major, along with the obliquus inferior, it rotates the head, turning the face to its own side. Okay, and obliquus capitis superior or the superior oblique, it flexes the head laterally to its own side. So these are the actions of the suboccipital muscles. Remember students, the suboccipital triangle, it comes as a short notes in the exam. So you have read boundaries and contents of the suboccipital triangle. Thank you.